Okay, my name is Sorteal. What we're going to be talking about today is the live video editing system. About 3 years back when I was actually looking for a video editor to do AMVs, that was my only real interest in video editing at the time. The thing that popped up for video editing in Linux was lives. I'd messed with Kino before, but it was more kind of your home movie editor. I wanted something where I could actually overlay effects to, where I had a bit more options as far as what I could do with the video. And so I kind of noticed within the Linux and Unix open source world that video editors were a weak spot. You had Kino, you had Similara, but really they kind of lacked a lot of customization. They lacked a lot of effects. They lacked a lot of power. When I stumbled upon Lives, it was, like I said, just to do nothing but AMVs. And when I really got into it, I found that it was a very powerful video editor. And the gentleman that actually maintains it is Gabriel Finch. He is the sole programmer. He is the sole maintainer. He's responsible for all the code. And the purpose of Lives is actually twofold. It is a video editor and it is a VJ tool. If you're not familiar with the term VJ is like a video jockey. Basically, it is you time up a whole bunch of real-time effects to sync up with music, so you get kind of a kaleidoscope effect within the video itself. And the VJ portion of Lives is the real-time effects section. Now, all the real-time effects are maintained by Gabriel Finch and another gentleman named Marco Dela Cruz. Marco Dela Cruz does a grouping of effects that is called the Fryer effects. Thank you, Iron Geek. And the Fryer effects are basically, a lot of them are bugged currently, but he has been working on them. And any of the real-time effects that you want to use, you can map them to control and 1 through 9. And they do various things. It's kind of one of those things where you just really got to play with them until you figure it out. And now this has gotten huge on me. But really with Lives, another of the features that I liked about it and that a lot of other video editors didn't have is its massive support for audio and video. Every audio and video format out there that is relevant, Lives is capable of handling. It can handle in uploading, and it can also handle in encoding. External audio is another thing. External video is another thing that it can handle. And in encoding, Lives uses mPlayer, so it also uses mencoder, but there's a whole big section of different encoders. We'll show you real quick. Marco Dela Cruz also, give it a generic name, came up with multi-encoder. And multi-encoder is an extremely good encoder because it will encode in just about every format that's relevant right now. And as in MPEG, it will encode MPEG in varying qualities. So if you need a particular actual resolution, but you want the file size smaller, you can encode it in varying qualities of MPEG to get a smaller file size. And it uses EncodeDV, FFmpeg, mencoder, MJPEG tools encoder, PDF. There's a straight flash encoder. Anybody that's backed up DVDs is probably familiar in Linux with transcode. It also has in multi-encoder, when you look at all the varying qualities, it's able to do everything from varying qualities of MPEG, like I said, to actual DVD quality, VCD quality. You can make animated GIFs or pings if you wanted to. It does XVID, DivX, OGM, MKV. With the format that I have selected, MP2 is the only one that's available for that, but it supports OGG audio-wise. It supports MP2, MP3, MP4, mod XM, any kind of external audio that you want to use. Now, as far as the kind of twofold aspect of Lives, all the effects within Lives, these are applied effects. Now, the difference between applied effects and real-time effects is that for applied effects, you have to select a particular area of the video, and then it renders that effect over top of it. Whereas real-time effects are, just as the name implies, you do them on the fly. Now, all the other tools that are available within, you can change playback speeds, you can resize any of your frames, you can rotate the clips, audio-wise, fade in and out. You can export audio. Let's see here. Also, in Lives, it's kind of, this is where I wanted to talk some about the flaws. One of the flaws with Lives is that when you load video, anything that is above 300 megabytes can actually take quite a while to load. One of the ways that Gabriel has kind of gone around this is when you go to open a file, if you do open file selection, it will actually let you open, say, a movie file that you have or just a long video, and you can select a particular section of that, whatever section it is you needed out of that video, and it will load up just that small portion as opposed to making you wait 10 hours for it to open up a gig movie. Also, this is the clip editor window. You can do most of your cut and paste here. You can do any kind of frame by frame. This is obviously first frame to last frame and anything in between. You select any section of the video that you like, and you can kind of cut and paste. One of the other flaws that it has is it does not have an unlimited redo. It doesn't have an unlimited undo. It copies everything to the clipboard once. So if you overlay an effect and then you go to overlay another one, you can't undo the second effect that you put and then undo the one that you did before that. You're stuck with what you did. So you kind of got to be careful. One of the things with video editing in general, I've noticed that a lot of people like to do is merging, where you kind of bleed one image through the other to go from either one section of a scene to the next. And a lot of video editors, I've noticed, either make it complicated or it's just non-existent. And so in Lives, the way that you actually would merge a clip from one frame to the next is you pick the section of the video that you want, you lock the selection with, then you cut it, it'll paste it to the clipboard, and then you select wherever you want it to go after that, and then you merge the clipboard with your selection. Now it'll give you several different options. Easy black white thresholds, checkerboards, fades or splices. Fades is typically what most people are looking for. It will try and give you the best settings for the resolution that you're using, the video format that you're using. It actually will adjust all of your effects to what's considered kind of the default or the best settings. Now that you've got it all merged over, and you play it back, you'll see, you know, the whole overlay, the merging that you just did. You can change whether or not it comes in and out. And this is really only one section of Lives. The other section is the multi-track. And multi-track allows you to add unlimited audio, unlimited video layers, and sort of similar to the GIMP that you can add as many layers of video as you want, and then you can actually merge them together. Also within the multi-track, it's kind of where you piece your video together. So say if you had loaded up a whole bunch of small sections of video, there you would just kind of drag and drop them. Now, where it says snap mode pulls everything all the way to the end, to the beginning of the video, or until it collides with another section of video. Now, if you put it in another layer, it will take it all the way to the end section. Now, within the multi-track, you can undo effects that you've done previously. You can merge other effects in. You can add different audio to it. One of the things I noticed with audio that I had issues with was that Actually, this is kind of nice that it actually crashed on me, because there was one thing that I needed to show. Was that anytime Lives crashes on you, it will remember what you were doing before, and it will recover everything that you had going. So Live still is currently in beta. The current release is 0.9.9.3. It's inching closer to the 1.0. Going back to the effects, it has a vast array of effects that are available. Textual overlays, it has negation, noise, it has where you can flip the frames horizontally, vertically, colorize, which is another really good one that pretty much everybody uses, to fade to black, to fade back in. Charcoal's a nice effect as well. It kind of gives it that almost manga style effect to it. A lot of the effects are also used to clean up video, adjusting the contrast, your color filters, your de-interlace, despeckling are all kind of to enhance a video. Where it says custom effects. Now, Lives has the ability that you can actually write scripts for any kind of effect that you can think of. Or if there's something about the interface that you don't like, and you've got the code skills to write in a plugin, you can do that. Any language that will support OS level frame by frame imaging, so most object oriented C, C++, Python, Perl, any of these scripts can be written in that. Now, the Lives page is lives.sourceforge.net. There is a section within the Lives page that is add-ons, and it has maybe about 20 or 30 so far add-on scripts that are available. So it's very much Adobe-like in that, where you can kind of plug in new effects, you can add to it. Where you have the apply the real-time effects, where the real-time effects, and I'll give you kind of an example of, let me set the mic down, hold on. Okay, with the real-time effects, if I had audio plugged into it, you would, with the VJ style of it, you would actually be timing up your changes to the music and that kind of thing. But with another cool feature about the real-time effects is also that they can be applied. So if you don't want to sit there and actually mess with the video to the point that you time up your changes perfectly, or you only want one of the real-time effects to apply to a certain section of the video. Any of those. Now you have to make sure that they're on, and like I said, control 1 through 8 or 1 through 9 is where you map out all of your real-time effects that you want. Control V within Lives will open up the area where you map out your real-time effects. And there is all the real-time effects. These are all the Fryer effects that Marco de la Cruz does. Like I said, some of them are buggy or just outright don't work. The water effect is one that is kind of iffy. All the standard effects work just fine. They work perfectly. Okay. But like I said, all the real-time effects can be applied to any section, just under Effects, or Control E to apply. Another thing with Lives, and if I had another box I could display it a little better, is that the audio recording and editing program Ardour actually plugs into Lives. So any of your audio that you have, if you have Ardour running as well, you can adjust your audio in real time. You can edit your audio in real time with your video. And another threefold thing kind of that I found out was that where Hydrogen, the drum machine, plugs into Ardour, which plugs into Lives, you can kind of have a whole multimedia studio going, and it's all open source, so it's free. Now, like I said, Lives is working on the 1.0. I think Gabriel plans on releasing it here in about 3 or 4 months. But I was trying to think. Basically, one of the other things that I really should mention is that it uses the Jack audio server. Now, a lot of issues that people have had with the Jack audio server is that if you have any other kind of audio program running, or even Firefox running, that will not give up your sound card, Jack will not run at all. So it'll give you an error that it can't actually initiate whatever your driver is. So you have to make sure that you have no other audio programs running, you don't have Firefox running or anything like that when you actually start up Lives. Now, the cool thing about the Jack server, if you're not familiar with it, is that it's specifically designed for open source pro quality audio. That's why Ardour uses it. But you can also use SOCs as well if your system has issues with Jack, which a lot do apparently. But you lose a whole lot of your audio features in Lives. You kind of lose your ability to fade in and out audio. Obviously, you can't plug into Ardour if you don't have Jack going. And it really, if you use SOCs as your only audio within Lives, it's really more for basic editing. You don't get any more complicated audio. Some of the packages that you'll need, it depends on MPlayer, Convert, Composite. You do have to have SOCs for the audio conversions. XMMS, sure, everybody knows is like defunct now, but if you do have it, it will actually act as an audio timer. But if you're running Ardour as well plugged into it, Ardour does the exact same thing and with far more control on the user end. It does require Jack D. DV grab is not required, but if you want to use any kind of camcorder video that you have or anything that's in DV, it does require that package. Lives will run on any Linux or Unix distribution. There are packages on lives.sourceforge.net for most major distributions. Ubuntu, Debian, Gentoo, Mandriva, or you can compile it from source. Now, if you want the Fryer effects, any of the massive list of real-time effects that aren't just the default ones, it is recommended that you compile it from source, because one of the kind of things I noticed with it that was a little odd was that you have to compile the Fryer effects before you compile lives. It does require mPlayer, but mencoder, I've noticed if you actually try to use it as an encoder, it does not work near as good as multi-encoder. I would recommend anybody using it for the first time, just stick with multi-encoder. Any of the VJ, like your real-time effects mapping, or you can set all your defaults. You can reset all the playback speeds. Also, another thing with lives is that it has the ability, say you're working on a video or something and you're actually collaborating with a guy in California. There is a streaming feature within lives, so you can get whoever you're collaborating with, get their IP address, get what you need. You can stream the video directly to them. They can make whatever changes they need, stream it right back to you, and there you go. So you can actually have more collaboration going on with video. Plus, there's a feature in it called Lives TV. Now, Lives TV is basically where we're going to be providing a small clip, maybe about a minute or 2 minutes long. It'll be run about 12 frames a second, just so anybody that's still stuck on dial-up or anything like that can actually get the video, and it will stream right into Lives. A lot of it will be tutorial. Some of it is just going to be video that you can have something to play with. Now, I don't think Morgellan's here, but Morgellan made a really good reference to Lives, and it was that anybody that's used Audacity, it's kind of the Audacity of video editors. It's one of those that the interface is extremely simple to use, and really if you just jump in and mess up enough, then you can figure it out really, really quickly. There are a few things I've noticed that, like if you find that you're kind of having fun merging clips or adding effects or anything like that, and you actually want to record yourself doing it, you can record anything throughout Lives. It's hotkey just to R, so once you actually press R and then play the video back for whatever you're doing to it, it will record the entire process. And this is also how you get the VJ portion of it. So if you're playing back a video and you're overlaying all your real-time effects, this is how you do it. You actually record all the playback and what you're doing to it, and then at the end it will ask you if you want to keep it, if you want to delete it or render it all to a new clip, or just directly encode it. Also, you can save any of the individual frames as JPEGs if you like. Also, like I said, that it will upload any kind of format, but basically what it does is it's taking all the frames when it uploads a video and turning them into JPEGs. So each individual frame is already a JPEG. And there has been a couple issues with uncutting. They've been solved now. But anybody that runs into any issues, there is a mailing list that's it's just the Users Lives mailing list. It's on the Lives homepage at sourceforge.net. There's a developers homepage. And one of the things that we were really hoping for was to recruit more developers on the end of RFX or plugins as far as the environment or interface. 3 people running a video editor is a lot of work. there is a fundraising drive as well that has begun. The goal right now on the fundraising drive, I believe, is like $7,000. They got about halfway there so far. For the 1.0, we are planning on releasing an actual manual that will be available within Lives itself, and it will also be available at the Live shop in an actual physical form. So if you would rather just have the book sitting with you so you can learn all the ins and outs of it, then that will be available as well. The Live shop, a link for it is off of the SourceForge homepage at lives.sourceforge.net, has merchandise as far as shirts, mouse pads, hats, and they're all going back to the development of Lives. There was a few other things in multi-track. It'll ask you how you want to encode it when you switch it over. So say if when you want to jump back over into multi-track, but you want to change your aspect ratio, or you want to change any of those kind of audio format, any of that, it will actually let you go ahead and change it on the fly as you jump into multi-track. Now, within multi-track, you can add in any of your background. There is also a thing called polymorph mode. There's a lot of people that do their entire editing process start to finish within multi-track. For me, it has been more of I will piece together my video within multi-track, do some of my transitions in multi-track, and then switch back over to clip editor to do pretty much everything else. But there are a lot of people in polymorph mode. You can actually cut the selection. There is different mouse modes as far as to actually just select the video or just to move it. You can do all your playback in multi-track as well. There is an audio mixer. Yeah. But then, like I said, the good thing about anytime you throw too much at it, the system requirements getting on that are extremely low. It's like 1.4, 1.5 Intel Pentium 4 equivalent to run it, 512 megabytes of RAM. Graphics card is onboard graphics work just fine, as far as I've been able to tell. You do need a bit more memory and a bit higher processor to run all the real-time effects adequately without it just continuously crashing on you where you keep throwing so much at it. Whenever you add effects, most of the effects have a big selection of how to actually alter it, or like with negate. You'll get an actual negation level, and you can actually skip certain frames. Each effect, for the most part, will give you a preview window, so you can make sure that you're not actually screwing everything up. Some of the effects are just immediately applied. I know that like gamma change and monochrome are immediately applied, but our friend the undo or control U will get rid of any mistakes that you made. But like I said, it is not unlimited. That once you've made more than the initial change, you're stuck. It is being worked on. Yes, sir.
What about saving your project in phases? Like if you're afraid you're going to need to undo something, you can save your project and give it a name or something, and then okay, I'm going to proceed on. Screw it up, and at least you can go back and still have an undo feature.
No, that is one way definitely around it. Like I've actually become paranoid with it to the point that when I go to, say, make an AMV or something like that, I will cut the sections that I need and encode them individually. So that way I've still got each individual clip already encoded. And those small cut sections to encode take maybe 5 to 10 seconds to encode anything that small. You know, if we're talking about anything from 200 to 700 frames is extremely short encoding time. Also, there is, I'm trying to think where exactly, you can pick any grouping of the clips that you have with your playback speeds. One of the things that you can do it on playback through recording, but it is extremely difficult. Anytime you actually try and change a playback speed, it will change it for the entire clip. So one of the things where people want certain sections to slow down, the best way to do it is cut that section, encode it, change the playback speed of that particular section, go into multi-track, add it in, render it all back to a new clip, and it will have already hard encoded that playback speed. But basically, I just wanted to give everybody an introduction to an option within the open source community of a video editor. There are very few of them. Like I said, Kino and Cinelera is pretty much the ones that everybody kind of points to anytime you ask about video editing within the Linux world. I've used both of them. Obviously, Kino, like I said before, is kind of more for home movie editing. Cinelera has done an admirable job. It is a very good video editor, but the options within Lives, I feel, surpass it. And the fact that you can actually encode in so many different formats and that it will upload directly into whatever format it is that you're trying to upload. It won't convert it to something else. So anything that you can download video format-wise, audio format-wise, it will load up and have no problems with it. Now, there are issues with high definition. It will load up high definition. My guy that's in our room, Iron Geek, had, I believe, was it 720p? Yeah, it took a long time to upload. Now, speed is something that's being worked on for the 1.0 release. As I said, it is still in beta, but we were able to upload the video just fine. It did take a little bit of waiting, but once we had it up and running, there was absolutely no problems with it. So time, as far as wait time to upload high definition, is the only real issue. It will handle high definition content, 720p, 1080, but you are going to actually have to wait for it to upload those high definition videos. Anything below that, your wait time is dependent on your file size. But then also, if you only need a certain part of it, like I said, you can select just an area of the video. Like I said, 1.0 should be out within 2 to 3 months. We are offering a manual that's going to come with it. The live shop is available. Homepage is lives.sourceforge.net. Anybody that wants to contribute user-wise or developer-wise, if you use it and find a bug, report it. Gabriel Finch, his email is salsaman@gmail.com. He is more than willing to take any kind of user input. There's an IRC channel on the Freenode network that's #lives. Most of the time, myself and Marco De La Cruz are in that room. Salsa Man pops in every once in a while. He's in and out. But like I said, if you email him, he will get back to you extremely quickly. He's very good about taking user input, and that's one of the things currently that we're kind of needing. Lives is definitely on the fringes of most people's awareness within video editing, and so we haven't got a whole lot of user feedback. So the more that he gets, the more he can add to it. And he did want me to bring up the fact that anybody that is willing to help develop for the project, as far as you've got an idea and you want to make an add-on script, or you look at the code and you actually say, hey, well, this portion I can make better. do so. Send it back to him and say, hey, this is something I found that I can do. And it is under the Linux fund. They're actually helping out quite a bit on the money for the 1.0. But like I said, just to give you an introduction into another option of video editors within the Linux world, the twofold aspect of it, I really like the VJ style, and then just the fact that there's just about anything you can think to do editing video-wise, it's Lives is fully capable of, or somebody has figured out a way to do it. So that was kind of one of the areas that it really won me over against Cinelera. Are there any questions? Yeah. Yes. Yes, it does. Yes. The 1.0 currently, well, once we get to 1.0, will, but currently, no, it does not. The what? Yes. Yes, it does. But yeah, that was kind of the thing that won me over about it too, was just the mass support for audio and video formats. But yeah, Og Theora, OGM. At repositories, the only repository I've really seen it in is kind of the default ones for Mandriva, and that's where Gabriel uses Mandriva and has actually talked to the actual Mandriva group, and they kind of threw it in there. It is an older version that is in the Mandriva repositories, but on their website it has, like, I believe it's Mandriva, Ubuntu, Gentoo, Debian, Fedora. I would probably recommend Ubuntu more. Like, this is running on Linux Mint. On the other hard drive that I got, I'm running Kubuntu, and it's 64-bit, and it runs perfect in that. But yeah, any of the Ubuntu-based or Debian-based distributions I've noticed do an extremely good job with them. Yes, sir. Yeah. Plus, the packages will work. Mm-hmm. And, well, another thing is with the packages, too, that where they're going to grab all the dependencies for you. There's a huge list of the dependencies that you're going to need that aren't default on most, bare bones installation of a distribution. So instead of hunting through Synaptics or whatever you're using, to actually find all these packages along with the development packages that you're going to need, the actual Lives package for your specific distribution is a very feasible option. And the Debian and Ubuntu-based ones and the Mandriva ones have continuously gotten better. There was a couple issues with them early on, but now they're almost just as good. The only problem is with the fryer effects. Is if you want all like the weed filters and the fryer effects, you need to compile, so you can compile those first. Yes, sir. Not currently. What is available, there is a live CD that's called Dynbolic. And then also we have a pen drive that is Dyn Lives, and it uses the QEMU technology, so you can actually plug it into a USB port while you have Windows going, and it will actually, open it up within Windows. Kind of similar to the way like Damn Small Linux is able to boot up within Windows environment. I know it has flight support, but the of the two that you mentioned, no, I don't. I'm unfamiliar, so I don't believe so. Really, that would be more of a question you would need to actually ask Gabriel, because I'm just going to admit my ignorance on that one. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Are there any other questions? Yes, currently that you can only have 2 frames up at once. Within the multi-track, when you use the polymorph mode, it will give you more of the frames, and you can actually zoom it in and out. But I've noticed that playback ends up being a little slow, so if you're trying to time anything in multi-track that way, it's kind of hit or miss. That's why I tend to really like to use the clip editor. But yeah, as far as in the clip editor, you're 2 frames at one time. Okay. Yes, sir. Hmm? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it converts it to JPEGs. Huh? I'm not entirely sure exactly how the process works. I know that each individual frame becomes a JPEG, but actually I'm actually, that would be another question that you would really need to ask Gabriel. I apologize. Okay. If there's no other questions, we're all we'll be up on, anybody that's on the 8th floor will actually be given any demonstrations or any more hands-on that anybody would like. So if you find me around and want a bit more of a hands-on demonstration or want to mess around with any of it, please feel free to find me and just ask me, and I will get together with anybody that wants to know more or wants to learn more or wants to mess around with it hands-on. But if there's no more questions, okay, that's basically it.